Hello everyone, welcome to a new video to the playlist mandelbrot.py. I published several videos in this playlist, some of them with instructions about this graphical user interface of mandelbrot.py. Then there are others with nice places. They are called Mandelbrot favorite. If you run them, you will find beautiful structures within the famous fractal. And now I will start a new small series of videos with explanations about the code. Of course, I will not talk about the whole code. This would be really boring, but I think there are some parts which are interesting, especially for users who have not much experience with writing PyQt5 applications and who could benefit from it. And I have also in mind that there might be experienced users who see what I'm doing and who have better solutions for the problems. And I would really appreciate if they send me comments or emails with hints. That would be really great. And to all of you, if I'm not clear, if important information is missing, please let me know. Okay, now I will start, of course, with Hello World. I think it's important to start from the basics to put all of us on the same page. And in fact, it's not only Hello World what is done by this application. It has also the skeleton of all my PyQt5 applications. Okay, the most important part is always at the bottom of these applications. Here you can see the famous line, if name equal main, execute main. For those of you who don't know what this does, it protects the code against unintentional execution if this file is imported. Now mine starts with creating a queue application. There's only one queue application per process, so it's a singleton pattern. And the queue application does lots of initializations and other things. And I'm not really aware of these things, and it's also not really important. We pass the command line argument to queue applications for user to allow users to specify their preferences like fonts, color schemes, and so on. I don't use this very much, to be honest. And then there's the most important part of the queue application is the event loop, which started with this exec statement. Now the event loop is waiting for signals that go to mandelbrot.py. At the moment everything is calm and quiet, nothing happens until I send a signal to the event loop by clicking an exec button. And then the event loop calls the callback function, and we see here that the color is rotating. You don't see the color rotating, you just see the index, how it is incremented. Now I stop it. So this is the event loop. And here I create an object of the basic structure. Okay, let's look at this class basic structure. It is a queue main window. I mean, I have chosen queue main window because I have good experiences with this class. There are other classes that could be used, even a queue widget, but so far I'm quite happy with this queue main window, and I think it's doing the job. And so here are some initializations, and then I set the window title, basic structure, and now we have three functions which I always use: prepare menu bar, prepare central part, and prepare status bar. So the menu bar is this part of the widget, or here you can see it from file to help. The status bar is here at the bottom. And so the menu bar and the status bar are features of a queue main window. And then everything else is the central part. Now let's look at the creation of the menu bar. Here a menu bar is created and it is attached to this queue main window. So the function set menu bar is part of the interface of a queue main window. And in my applications, I always use this file pop-up menu. You can see this. And also in the Hello World example. It's always there. And this file menu has several entries for real applications, and there's always an exit at the end. So, and then there we need a help menu, which is at the upper right part of the widget. And in our case, I just have help widget, which displays some text. Here you can see how the help menu is created, and here you can see the widget action, how it is, so to say, connected to a callback function, cb help widget. Here is the callback function cb help widget, and this is the text which is displayed here. So, okay. So all my callback functions begin with the letter cb underscore. I like to distinguish between callback functions and other functions. Now, before we come to the central part, let's go to the status bar. Here you see how the status bar is created, and then I create a push button quit, and this is connected to the callback function close. Then I close the whole application and I print goodbye, just for demonstration. And the quit button is always in the lower right part of the application. Okay, now let's look at the central part. So we create a widget, and we make this widget the central widget of this QMain window. So the function set central widget is part of the interface of this QMain window. So if you buy a QMain window, you get set central widget, so to say. Then I create a layout, a grid layout, which is a matrix of cells, and I make this the layout of my central widget. So now I have a grid, and I can fill the grid with different widgets. And what I always do is I have this control this row and column, start with 0, 0, of course, and there I put hello. This is this hello. And then I increase the column, and then I put world. So hello, world. Hello and world are in different cells of the grid layout. And then I always create a log widget. You can see it here for messages that I want to send to the user. This is, for me, this is very important. To do this, I increment the row and set the column to 0. And then I set the row span to 1 and the column span to 2. This is why we have this size of the log widget. So it spans 2 columns. Okay. So you can see that I use layouts, and I don't use the Qt designer. And this is a matter of taste. I once tried the Qt designer, and I was not happy with this solution. So I prefer to define the layout of my application through these grid layouts, horizontal layout or vertical layout. For me, this is more convenient. Okay, I think this is all I wanted to say today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I thank you for watching.